Richie here with Statifying Football. This is your week 8, 3:30 to 7:30 college football games. There's a bunch, so let's jump in. LSU taking on Mississippi State. LSU beat Florida 42-28. Joe Burrow 293 passing, 3 touchdowns. Clyde Edwards-Helaire 134 rushing and 2 touchdowns. They had 2 guys go over 100 yards receiving. Jamar Chase 7 catches, 127 and 2 touchdowns, and Justin Jefferson 10 catches, 123 and a touchdown. They put up 511 yards. They did allow 457 yards. They only forced one turnover, but in my opinion, it was the key to the game. Florida was driving, 3rd and inches. They were only down by 7, and he threw an interception in the end zone, and then LSU ended up scoring after that to take the lead. Mississippi State, they lost to Tennessee 20-10. They had 2 quarterbacks play. They both combined for 11 of 21, 146, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. They only had 267 yards of offense and the 3 turnovers. I don't see this being close. LSU's really good. I think LSU blows them out. I had a really good Pac-12 game for you. Oregon and Washington. Oregon killed Colorado 45-3. Justin Herbert 261 and 2 touchdowns. CJ Verdell ran for 171. They put up 527 yards. The defense only allowed 299 to a good Colorado offense, and they had 4 turnovers in the game. Or Washington Huskies beat Arizona 51-27. They held that offense down pretty well. Jacob Eason, solid 243, 2 touchdowns. Sean McGrew ran for 106. Savin Ahmed, he ran for 95, but he had 3 rushing touchdowns. He had 450 yards of offense. Their defense forced 4 turnovers. They had a fumble return for a touchdown, but they did allow 360 yards. This is a close game. I'm going to go Oregon here because both defenses are really, really good. I think Justin Herbert is more consistent. Eason's not a bad quarterback, but he's slightly more inconsistent. Washington's got some decent running backs. I don't know. It's a pretty even game. I'm going to go slight Oregon win here. All right, a good American Athletic Conference matchup. Temple against SMU. Temple's 5-1. I think actually they're both should be ranked if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here. In the AP. Okay, so Temple is ranked in the coaches poll, not in the AP poll. Anyway, it should still be a good game. Temple had an upset of then-ranked Memphis, beat them 30-28. Anthony Russo, 224, 2 touchdowns. Brandon Mack, 9 catches, 125 and a touchdown. They ran for 193. Their defense gave up 492 yards. They had 3 sacks and 4 turnovers. In fact, they forced 3 turnovers in the first quarter. They gave them a decent-sized lead, and they were kind of able to hold on a bit. SMU's coming off a bye. The week before, they played an awesome shootout game against Tulsa. They won in triple overtime, 43-37. They were actually down 30-9 at the beginning of the 4th quarter of that game. They came all the way back. Shane Buechele, 280, 2 touchdowns. Xavier Jones, 121 rushing and 2 touchdowns. James Prochet, awesome catch to win the game. 11 catches, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. Defense had 4 turnovers, a pick 6, but it did allow 500 yards. And Temple's offense it's fine. It's weird. They kind of go in spurts. They can put up a lot of points. Their defense is really good. SMU's offense is great, off the charts. I expect this to be a close game. Temple's had 2 upsets so far this year against ranked teams, Memphis, and then a few weeks ago Maryland, and they've been able to hold these high-octane offenses relatively down pretty well. But I don't know. SMU seems so strong this year. I'm going to go. It'll be good, but I'll go SMU. All right, Minnesota against Rutgers. Minnesota beat Nebraska. They killed them 34-7. Rodney Smith ran for 139 and a touchdown. He had 322 rushing yards. Tyler Johnson, 5 catches, 109. Defense had 4 sacks. Rutgers got shut out by Indiana, 35-0. This is how bad they were. Their quarterback, Langan, 5 of 13 for 1 yard passing. They had 75 total yards. 75. They won't get it close. Minnesota's going to destroy Rutgers in that one. Tulsa and Cincinnati. All right, Tulsa 2-4. They're coming off a 45-17 loss to Navy. Zach Smith 23, 49, 254 touchdown. They only ran for 69 yards. They got to do a lot better than that against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's ranked. They beat Houston 38-23, mostly by their defense. Desmond Ridder, though, was solid, 263, 3 touchdowns, and ran for 50 yards and a touchdown. Rashad Menderes had 3 catches, 121 and a touchdown. Their defense, though, had 5 turnovers and a pick 6. Tulsa's shown they can keep up. They were able to keep up with SMU. They were able to score. I'm going to put Cincinnati on upset alert here. Tulsa's shown they can hang with these guys. But I'll still say Cincinnati ends up getting the win. But I'm going to say upset alert there for sure. All right, Louisiana Monroe, and now 24th ranked Appalachian State from the Sun Belt. Louisiana Monroe coming off a 24-14 win over Texas State. Josh Johnson ran for 114 and two touchdowns. It was kind of, so-so game. Defense, 3 sacks, 2 turnovers. Appalachian State, they beat Louisiana Lafayette. That was also more of a defensive battle, so they won 17-7. They had 196 rushing yards. The defense had 3 sacks and held a really good Louisiana Lafayette team to only 254 yards. I'm going to put Appalachian State on upset alert as well because Louisiana Monroe has shown they can put up points in yards even against good teams. They almost beat FSU. They were going to move it pretty well against, I forget who it was recently, but anyways, they've been able to move it on everybody. And they are 2-0 in the Sun Belt. This is a big game for Sun Belt. That being said, Appalachian State, while they are on upset alert, I think Appalachian State should come out with the win. I could see them winning like 37-30, 37-27, something like that. All right, Indiana, Maryland, kind of an interesting Big Ten game. If you believe in Maryland, Indiana's coming out of a 35-0 win over Rutgers. Michael Penix Jr., 282 passing, 3 touchdowns. Stevie Scott ran for 164. They ran for 260 as a team. Wap Fillior had 10 catches for 182 yards. Defense had 6 sacks against Rutgers, only held them to 75 total yards. Maryland got killed by Purdue 40-14. Tyler Pigrome, 218 passing, 2 picks, not good, but ran for 107 and a touchdown. Dante Demas, 10 catches, 105. Defense allowed 547 yards to Purdue. Maryland, we don't know what the fuck to think about you. They're so inconsistent. They could come out here and just... This could be a shootout. Both offenses have been able to move the ball. Indiana's done it more consistently, and they've been able to move it against better defenses, I would say. So I'm going to go Indiana here for a win, but it could be close. All right, a close ACC game here. Duke and Virginia, good for the big one for the Coastal. Duke's coming off a 41-23 win over Georgia Tech. Quentin Harris, 176 passing, 38 rushing, and a touchdown. They ran for 197. The defense had 4 sacks. Virginia, though, lost 17-9 to Miami. They only had 74 rushing yards and allowed 5 sacks in that game. This game was more so that Virginia was able to move it decently. They got inside the red zone multiple times, but were only able to come with 3 field goals. They had a field goal missed. They turned over. Sometimes they would get in and then back up. They had a lot of things in the red zone gone. So this game will be really interesting. Two good running quarterbacks, passing quarterbacks, dual threat quarterbacks, I should say. God, I don't know who to go with this because if Virginia can capitalize on their red zone appearances, this could go back and forth. But Bryce Perkins, as much as he's shown the ability to make really big plays and good plays all around, he does fumble it sometimes. He does turn over sometimes. I'm just wondering. I don't know who to go with this one, man. I'm leaning Duke. I'll go Duke. All right, North Carolina, Virginia Tech. North Carolina coming off a bye. The last game was 38-22 win over Georgia Tech. Sam Howell went off 376 and 4 touchdowns. Javonte Williams ran for 144 and a touchdown. They had 587 yards of offense. Defense forced 2 turnovers. Virginia Tech kind of struggled against 1AA Rhode Island. They did win 34-17. Hendon Hooker, 261 passing, 3 touchdowns, and ran for 43. Deshaun McLeese ran for 124 and a touchdown. They put up 45, and their defense had 3 sacks. This could be kind of a shootout, but I'm going to go North Carolina here. Virginia Tech has been way too inconsistent there. Southern Mississippi and Louisiana Tech, big one for the CUSA. Both really strong offenses. This shootout galore, I feel like. Passing it, moving it all up and down the field. Southern Mississippi is 4-2. Louisiana Tech is 5-1. Really big for the CUSA. Southern Miss beat North Texas 45-27. Jack Abraham, 421 passing, 3 touchdowns, and 1 rushing. DeMichael Harris ran for 103 and 2 touchdowns. Kez Watkins had 8 catches, 198, and a touchdown. 563 total yards. With Louisiana Tech knocked the pants off UMass 69-21. Jamar Smith, 239, 3 touchdowns, and 69 rushing. Justin Henderson, 137 rushing and 3 touchdowns. They ran for 385, and they put up 689 total yards. However, they did turn it over 3 times, and that's going to be key. If they turn over that many times against Southern Miss will score touchdowns. Defense had 2 turnovers and pick 6. I expect this to be back and forth, high scoring. I don't know who to go with here. I'm going to go Southern Miss. All right, USF taking on Navy. Big win last week for USF if they want a bowl, any chance at a bowl. They beat BYU 27-23. Jordan McLeod didn't do a whole lot passing, 74 passing yards, a touchdown and pick. Added 23 rushing and a touchdown. Jordan Cronkite went off, 158, 2 rushing touchdowns. They ran for 243 as a team. Defense had a really, really good game. That BYU put up 23 points, but they had to settle for field goals a whole bunch of times. And USF had 6 sacks and 2 turnovers in that win. Navy beat Tulsa 45-17, kind of the way Navy does it with a triple option. They had 388 rushing yards. Malcolm Perry, the quarterback, ran for 218 and 3 touchdowns. Defense had 4 sacks in that game. I want USF to win, and I think they can win. They're gonna have a lot of trouble with this triple option team. Navy's back again. They're 4-1. This will be, I think, a pretty good game. If South Florida cannot turn it over, if Jordan McLeod cannot turn it over and avoid the pass rush, they got a really good chance. That being said, I'm going to give Navy the edge here. All right, Buffalo taking on Akron. Buffalo coming off a bye. Their last game was a 21-20 loss to Ohio in overtime. They missed an extra point that would have made it 21-14, but they only went 20-14. Then Ohio scored a touchdown and got the extra point to win. Coventry, solid 197 passing, 2 touchdowns, also ran for 1. Kevin Marks ran for 112. Defense had 4 sacks and 2 turnovers. Akron, they got killed by Kent State 26-3. The only thing was Cato Nelson passed for 202 yards. They didn't really do anything. I think Buffalo should win that one. All right, Baylor, Oklahoma State, another Big 12 game, another big shootout. I feel like Baylor, awesome game against Texas Tech. They beat them in double overtime, 33-30. Charlie Brewer, he had a weird game. He passed for 352 yards. However, he threw 3 interceptions. That being said, he also ran for 3 touchdowns. So, he's got to, if he turns it over that much, again, against Oklahoma State will make him pay. Defense had 5 sacks. They forced 3 turnovers against Texas Tech. Oklahoma State coming off a bye. Their last game was actually a loss to Texas Tech, 45-35. Spencer Sanders, 290 passing, 2 touchdowns, but he turned it over, 3 interceptions. Chuba Hubbard ran for 156 and 3 touchdowns. They actually put up 509 yards of offense, but they turned it over 5 times. Both teams have pretty good offenses. Baylor, I think, has a better defense. That being said, Baylor, I feel like, has been skating by the skin of their teeth. They're a good team, don't get me wrong, but I think Oklahoma State will take this in a very, very close, exciting, high-scoring game. At Missouri and Vanderbilt, Missouri beat Ole Miss 38-27. Kelly Bryant, 329 passing, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Larry Roundtree ran for 126 and 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Johnson, 8 catches, 110. 562 yards of offense. Vanderbilt got killed by Mountain West UNLV, 34-10. Their only saving grace was Keyshawn Vaughn, ran for 140 and a touchdown. They had 2 quarterbacks, Vanderbilt did, combined 16 of 41, 140 and a pick. They allowed 206 rushing yards to UNLV. I think this isn't close. Missouri should smoke them. All right, Middle Tennessee and North Texas, possible high-scoring game here. Middle Tennessee lost to Florida Atlantic 28-13. Asher O'Hara, 335 passing, 1 touchdown, and 1 rushing, but he did throw 3 interceptions. They put up 459 yards of offense and actually outgained Florida Atlantic, but they had 3 turnovers in that game. North Texas lost 45-27 to Southern Miss. Mason Fine was so-so, 11 of 25, not good. 217, but he did have 3 touchdown passes. This game, it may not mean a whole lot for the CUSA, although they're only both 1-1. But really, it's more for the bowl eligibility. Both teams are 2-4. If both teams want to at least make it to 3 wins, this could be a big factor. Because the next loss for either one, it'll put them at 5. That being said, I'm going to go to North Texas, and I think North Texas has a little more firepower than Middle Tennessee. All right, Old Dominion and UAB. Old Dominion, they showed well against Marshall. They only lost 31-17. It's weird. They had 206 total yards, but they were able to keep it close. UAB beat Texas San Antonio. The Alabama Birmingham Blazers beat the Texas San Antonio Roadrunners 33-14. Tyler Johnston, 294 passing, 2 touchdowns. Austin Watkins, 6 catches, 167 and a touchdown. He had 492 total yards. The defense had 2 turnovers, only allowed 220. I think UAB should win this one. Old Dominion's been able to keep it close against some decent teams, and they may keep it close against UAB, but UAB, Bill Clark's a freaking awesome coach, so I got UAB there in that one. All right, and then you got Charlotte in Western Kentucky. Charlotte lost to Florida International 48-23. Benny LeMay ran for 144 and a touchdown. They actually ran for 217. But the defense allowed 510 yards. Whereas Western Kentucky, they're 4-2. They're 3-0 in the CSA. And all that, they had a really good win against Army. Army's the past few years, they've won 10 and 11 games each year. They beat them 17-8. Gage Walker ran for 132. Ty Story didn't do a lot passing, 140 passing, but he ran for 62 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. They ran for 225. And not only that, their defense played awesome against Army. They only allowed 208 total yards. Normally, Army is one of the best. Normally, if Army runs for 208, that's a bad game. Not to say they didn't have any. They didn't have 208 rushing yards. They had 208 total yards. So a bad game for them offensively. Good game for Western Kentucky. It seems like Western Kentucky is a pretty good team this year. I'm gonna go Western Kentucky there. All right, back to the SEC. Kentucky taking on Georgia. Kentucky beat Arkansas 24-20. Weird game. Sawyer Smith was hurt at quarterback, so Lynn Bowden, their normally starting wide receiver, started at quarterback. He didn't do a whole lot of passing, 78 passing yards and a touchdown, but he ran for 196 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. They ran for 330 yards as a team. Defense had 3 sacks. They're going to need that running game again if they want to beat Georgia. Now, Georgia did just get upset by South Carolina, so it's possible for Kentucky to win. I think Georgia comes out motivated. I'm not sure. I don't think Kentucky can put up 330 yards. If they do, they will win. But Georgia coming off a 20-17 loss to South Carolina in 2 overtimes. Jake Fromm, 295, 1 touchdown, but he threw 3 interceptions. DeAndre Swift ran for 113 and a touchdown. They had 468 total yards, but really they lost because they turned it over 4 times, and they missed the field goal at the end. That would have at least tied it. I'm going to go Georgia here. Possible upset alert, but Georgia already was upset, so I can't see that happening twice in a row like that. So I'll go Georgia there. All right, a really big game in the Pac-12. Arizona State and Utah, both ranked in the top 17, both 5-1, both 2-1 in the Pac-12. Arizona State, they won a shootout against Washington State, 38-34. Jaden Daniels, 363 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, added 1 rushing. Eno Benjamin, one of the best running backs in the country, ran from 137 and a touchdown. Brendan Ayuk, 7 catches, 196 yards, and 3 touchdown receptions. And that was being ill. Like, he was sick, throwing up and everything. He balled out. They had 532 yards. They gave up 498. And Utah's offense is pretty good. Utah killed Oregon State 52-7. Huntley passed for 247 and 2 touchdowns. Zach Moss ran for 121 and 2 touchdowns. They ran for 256, put up 503. Defense only allowed 217 to a pretty good Oregon State offense. Had a pick 6. I expect the game to go back and forth. Both defenses are actually pretty good. Both offenses are pretty good. This actually should be a really just great game. I'm going to go Utah, though, in the end here. I think Utah has Arizona State's sort of coming out of, not really nowhere. They made a bowl last year, but I'll go with Utah here just for more experience overall. But that should be a really fun game to watch. All right, Rice taking on UTSA. Rice coming off a bye. The last game was 35-20 loss to UAB. They were only down 21-20 at halftime. Willie Green, 15 of 35, not very good, but passed for 161 and 2 touchdowns. Aston Walter ran for 102 and a touchdown. Austin Trammell had 5 catches for 113. They turned it over 4 times, which hurt them in that loss to UAB. UTSA lost to UAB, coincidentally, 33-14. Lowell Narcisse wasn't very good passing, 8 of 19, 94 yards, did add 86 rushing yards and a touchdown. They only had 220 total yards as well. I think this will be pretty close. Rice has been able to, do pretty well against a lot of good teams, even though they haven't won any. They've been pretty close. I'll go with UTSA, though. I think UTSA just has maybe just slightly more talent there. All right, one devil at Maine taking on Liberty. I think this should be Liberty. Liberty's 4-2. They're trying to get to a bowl. They're coming off a bye. The last game was a 20-13 win over New Mexico State. Stephen Calvert, 173, 1 touchdown. Josh Mack ran for 113. Defense had 4 sacks, forced 3 turnovers. I think they get the 5 wins here. Kansas taking on Texas. Kansas coming off a bye. The last game was a 45-20 loss to Oklahoma. Carter Stanley had a good game, 230 passing and 3 touchdowns. Puka Williams Jr. ran for 137. Steven Robinson, 5 catches, 131, and 2 touchdowns. They actually did put up 360 yards against Oklahoma and could do that against Texas. Texas, their last game was the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma. They lost 34-27. Sam Ehlinger, so-so game, 210 passing, 2 rushing touchdowns. Defense did allow 5-11. I don't see, this could be an upset. Kansas has been shown to hold their own against some good teams and move the ball pretty well. And they could come out here. I'm going to put Texas on upset alert for sure, but I think Texas should get the win there. All right, ECU Pirates taking on the UCF Knights. Both coming off byes, both coming off losses. ECU lost to Temple 27-17. Holton Nailers, 19 of 39, not great. 229 passing and 2 touchdowns. CJ Johnson had 8 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. UCF, their last game was a 27-24 loss to Cincinnati. Dylan Gabriel passed for 297 and a touchdown, but he threw 3 interceptions. They turned it over 4 times. Gabriel Davis had 13 catches for 170. Man, UCF had their chances. They got inside the not just the red zone, inside the 10 multiple times. Got to the 8, threw an interception. Got inside the 15, threw an interception. Then threw an interception that was returned for a touchdown. I think they should clean that up. They've had a couple of weeks. They are more talented in East Carolina. It's in Orlando. I think they should bounce back here, and I think UCF should win. Don't take ECU lightly. ECU's solid, but UCF should win here. All right, a big game in the Mountain West. San Diego State taking on San Jose State. San Diego State had a really good game against Wyoming. They won 26-22. They scored with like 2 minutes left to go up and then held on. Ryan Agnew, 209 passing and 2 touchdowns. San Jose State lost in an awesome shootout against Nevada. They lost 41-38. Josh Lovedo threw for 405 yards and 3 touchdowns. They only ran for 15 yards in the game. Bailey Gaither, 5 catches, 131, and a touchdown. Their defense actually did force 3 turnovers, but they gave up 541 yards to a good Nevada offense. This is sort of a classic San Jose State good offense, San Diego State good defense kind of game. San Diego State's shown they can move it a little bit. San Jose State, they're not like horrible on defense, but not great. I'll give San Diego State the edge here. But San Jose State, they are quite improved this year. They are a lot more competitive this year. They are also 3-3, and they want to try to get to a bowl. This would be a big win for them if they can do it. But I'm gonna give San Diego State the edge, but this should be a close one. All right, another big one in the American Conference. Tulane taking on Memphis, both 5-1. Tulane killed UConn 49-7. Justin McMillan, 231 passing and 2 touchdowns, and Ranford 1. They had 311 rushing yards, 634 total yards. Defense had a pick 6 and only allowed 234. Memphis was upset by Temple, 30-28. Brady White, 363, 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Gamo, 106 rushing and a touchdown. He's having an awesome year. They put up 492 yards, but they had 4 turnovers in that game. They got to cut that out to beat Tulane. This should be a shootout. Go back and forth. Man, I don't know. Tulane might win this one. Tulane might run all over them. Yeah, I'm going to go Tulane here. I'll go Tulane there. All right, Western Michigan and Eastern Michigan. Both teams trying to get to bowl games. Western Michigan is 4-3. Eastern Michigan is 3-3. Western Michigan killed Miami of Ohio 38-16. John Wasink, 137 passing, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Levante Bellamy ran for 135 and a touchdown. The defense had 6 sacks, 3 turnovers, and a pick 6 in that game. Whereas Eastern Michigan actually lost to Ball State 29-23. Mike Glass, 283 passing, 1 touchdown, ran for 2, but he threw 3 interceptions. They only ran for 89 yards of offense and 4 turnovers. Western Michigan has a really potent offense, so if they turn over that many times, Western Michigan is going to blow them out. I expect this to be kind of a bit of a close game, a rivalry. Both teams actually pretty decent, but I'll go Western Michigan out at the end to edge them. All right, Colorado, Washington State, shootout galore. Can't wait for this one. Colorado, they did lose 45-3 to Oregon. They only had 299 yards, but they turned it over 4 times. I think put that in the mirror. Steven Montez, really good quarterback. Laviska Shenault at wide receiver. I think they go off. Washington State lost in a shootout to Arizona State, 38-34. Anthony Gordon, great game, 466 passing, 3 touchdown passes. Easop Winston, 14 catches, 118 and a touchdown. Defense did have 3 sacks, but they gave up 532. I keep going for Washington State. I'm going to say again, Washington State should come out finally with this one. It's in Pullman. I think they supposedly have the more solid team. All right, this is kind of an under radar game. Army and Georgia State. Army's 3-3. Georgia State is actually 4-2 this year, coming out of nowhere. Not only did they beat Tennessee, they beat some good teams in the Sun Belt. Army's coming off a 17-8 loss to Western Kentucky. They only had 208 total yards. I think they turned that around. Georgia State beat Coastal Carolina 31-21. Dan Ellington, he only passed for 122, one touchdown and pick, but they had 3 guys rush for 100 yards. Ellington, the quarterback, ran for 128. Trey Barnett ran for 110 and 2 touchdowns, and Seth Page ran for 104 and a touchdown. They ran for 350 yards of offense. Their defense only allowed 322 total, so they rushed for more yards than they allowed total from the other team. I think this game could be a really good game, back and forth. I will say I think Army bounces back. I think the triple option will be a little too much for Georgia State. Georgia State's really good this year. I'm going to go Army here, though. And the final one for these 3:30 games, UTEP, which is Texas El Paso Miners, taking on the Florida International Panthers, Golden Panthers, I guess. UTEP's coming off a bye. Their last game was a 26-16 loss to Texas San Antonio. Brandon Jones, okay, only 140 yards passing and a touchdown. They only had 280 total yards. Florida International beat Charlotte 48-23. James Morgan, efficient, 13 of 16, 160 passing, 2 touchdowns. Anthony Jones ran for 117 and 3 touchdowns. Napoleon Maxwell ran for 114 and a touchdown. They put up 350 rushing yards and 510 total yards. UTEP is really not a very good team, so I'm going to go Florida International big in that one. All right, those are the 3:30 games. Come back, check out my primetime games, check out my NFL ones, check out my new ones, everything. Like, subscribe, share this. Peace.